Hi everyone, welcome to my session for SUSECON Digital 2021. My name is Dan Papandrea. I'm the Director of Open Source Community and Ecosystem for Sidekick, and my session is called Even Cookies Crumble. We're going to show you how to secure your K3s cluster with Falco. This is perhaps the saddest sight I've ever seen. It's a half-eaten single cookie. I'm sure this is all very upsetting to you all as well. What's even more sad, cloud misconfigurations have cost organizations $5 trillion since 2018. That's an article from Technorati. Another article from Trend Micro said that misconfigurations are the top security risk right now. All very good sources. We all agree K3s is awesome. I don't need to explain why. Okay, here's a couple of reasons, and it's listed on K3s.io. Perfect for Edge, simplified and secured. It's a very small package, less than 40 megs from a binary perspective. Cuts down the dependencies. It's very easy to install, and it's also optimized for ARM. We all know the real reason, though. It's kind of an easy button for deploying Kubernetes. So what is Falco? Falco is a Cloud Native Computing Foundation incubated project. It's a cloud native runtime security project, and it's kind of the de facto engine for Kubernetes and K3s threat detection. So what does Falco do? Falco uses system calls to secure and monitor a system by parsing the system calls from the kernel at runtime, asserting the rules stream against like a powerful rules engine. It has a certain level of DSL that lets you, tweak it and create through YAML rule sets and updates and those types of things, and then alerts when a rule is violated. I want to talk to you a little bit now about the rule sets. The default rule sets out of the box protect and secure you from misconfiguration and anomalous behavior. We subset at least 105 rules out of the box for you that we've seen from countless years and of the community contributing things that help you from an anomalous behavior perspective. So privilege escalation, somebody executing a shell, somebody executing binaries, mutating binaries, creating symlinks. And the ones we've added recently as well is audit log capability. So if somebody's attaching to a pod or creating config maps with private credentials, or somebody creating a namespace they shouldn't, those are rules you would have out of the box if you've installed Falco. Falco's architecture is pretty simple in that we can attach to audit log and metadata, and we install a kernel on the underlying host that's running, K3s or Kubernetes or RKE, those types of things, or single nodes. You can install as a standard host as well. And then we filter those expressions that are happening at the syscall level, and then use these rule sets for you to look and alert for any type of suspicious events. And in the demonstration, I'll show you that. You can then output that to things like syslog, file, standard out, shell, HTTPS, or gRPC. And we even have a sidekick that basically allows you to output through many other tools like Slack or Nats or Lambda functions or Prometheus, those types of things. But you can also use this as a threat detection and action tool as well, so a response engine. So once you have detection, you can then send a notification to things like, like we did in the Sidekick, but then you can have an action of some sort. So using Lambda or Kubeless or OpenFaaS or Knative to run that action, like killing a container. But the possibilities are endless. You can create a function that could do pretty much anything from an actions perspective. So right now, I'm going to get into a demo, and let's see how we can secure your K3s cluster with Falco. So for this demo, I've deployed a simple K3s cluster in a cloud provider called Sivo Cloud. It's a managed cloud provider that does only K3s. And in this cluster, I've also deployed Falco, as well as something called OpenFaaS, which is an open source project that lets you run functions as a service. I've also deployed a simple cookie recipe that's stored on an Nginx node. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you this right now. So if I can go ahead and go here, I'm going to go ahead and go show you the nodes. And you can see there's the 3 nodes that I have. And I'm going to go get pods. And you can see there's my Falco's been deployed. So simple to deploy. This is a Helm deploy. And if you go to falco.org, I'll put links there. It's very simple. It's a simple Helm deployment, or you can install it as a binary as well. So that being said, I'm going to also get pods on my cookie recipe. And you'll notice that I have an Nginx deployed here with a load balancer as well. So if we go in here, we can say, here's my SUSECON 2021 cookie recipe. There's my step 1, step 2, and step 3. I don't want these violated here, right? So let's go ahead and we will take a look at the code behind this. And we will see that here's my cookie recipe. It's a very simple YAML deployment, and you can see here where I have everything mounted to user share nginx HTML. So if somebody was to modify that, we wouldn't want them to do that. We want to kind of be notified. Again, using the power of Falco deployed on this, if we didn't have this, we wouldn't have no way to audit this to look for this anomalous behavior, right? And so what I did was I also deployed these custom rules. So this is a rule set. This is the Falco rule set. It's a simple YAML that shows there's our rule. If we look at the top here from top to bottom, SUSECON tampering detector. There's a description, right? So you look at that, that's saying detecting tamper of super precious cookie recipes. And then you'll see the condition where if that path, remember I showed you the path before is user share nginx, or event arg starts with user x, do this output. Cookie recipes tampering detected, and there's a prioritization and there's tagging functions there. So there's our cookie recipes. We see it's nginx here, okay? Now I've also deployed Sidekick, and I'll show you that UI for that as well. It's going to output to Slack and then in the UI as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to try to exec into that pod and move something here. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me just go ahead and in this window, go get pods. -W. So we can see these pods are running, obviously, right? And we're going to try to hack, basically try to move one of the files in there. It's just like executing into the pod, which is a default rule set as I showed you in the slides before. So see here, it terminated with this. All right, now let's go to our cookie recipes here, and we look at our UI, and what do we see? We see with our rule here, our SUSECON rule, has been tampered with. We can see that this has happened here, has been tampered with. It shows us that is specific deployment when this thing happened. It's kind of showing you all of this detail. So this is, again, where a function here that we're using that's able to do so. And then also it's kicked us out of that cluster, out of that node as well, out of that pod as well. So this is showing you the power of it. Now, take a look at this. Because I have it also outputted out to Slack, you can see there's our alert. Their emergency cookie tampering has happened. So remember that Falco alert that I showed you right here, where I have the account carry rule. I've deployed that, and that shows me that has the capability for doing so. So if we go back to our slides here, what I showed you was there was a detection, there was a notification, and then there was an action where it exited completely. So basically terminated that pod and ran, but my application was still running. So it knocked me out if I was an intruder. So there was no way for me to change any type of misconfiguration, or from a security perspective, it was all done right there. Here's some additional resources. There's a blog that I wrote. It basically talked about deploying this K3s and Sysdig within and in Falco itself with less than 8 minutes. So you can easily deploy that. There's a repo right here. There's a link that we'll have in this description as well, where it has every single article that's been written, blogs, articles, slides, for you to get started, just like I did here in getting your K3s cluster secure. And then lastly, if you're looking at RKE or some other systems within the Rancher and SUSE world, we have an article about deploying on bare metal with Rancher as well, that somebody from the community contributed. Which brings us to the community. Again, Falco is an open source project. If you really want to get started, look at falco.org. You can also check out the project in GitHub, as well as get involved in the Falco community. We're on the Kubernetes Slack. There's a Falco channel. Come over and join us. If any questions, we're glad to help you. We're on, and the maintainers there. I'm a maintainer as well. So follow us also at falco.org on Twitter. And lastly, the key component here, if you look at our cloud forensics runtime scanning capability from a Sysdig perspective, there's a commercial tool that does all of this and integrates even more, allows you to do rapid response, vulnerability scanning, cloud integration, workload integration. And that also, we have a free tier that you can sign up for as well. It's a free tier that gives you cloud security, as well as, since Falco is an open source tool, it's also free. But also, if you want even more capabilities, you can go to sysdig.com/company/start free. I enjoyed our time together, but I want to tell you, don't let your cookies crumble. K3s and Falco are an awesome mix together. Totally look forward to it, and please don't let your cookies crumble. I beg you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for attending SUSECON Digital 2021.